In the year 3087, Earth was no longer the green planet it once was. Skies were dark, oceans were poisoned, and cities were nothing but dust and ruins. But deep in the center of the planet, something survived. A place forgotten by time. A place called the Last Forest. This forest didn't exist on any map. Satellites avoided it. Machines failed inside it. It was full of strange creatures, mutated plants, and whispers in the air. Many had entered to explore, but none ever returned. That's why the Galactic Federation called it a test zone. And this week, it was the hunting ground for a new alien team. 5 elite hunters from 5 different planets they had trained. For years, hunted in lava fields and icy moons, they believed no planet could challenge them. The leader of this team was an alien huntress named Kerala. She was tall, blue-skinned, and known for killing a shadow dragon with her bare hands. She laughed when she heard the mission briefing. "Earth is dead," she said. "It will be like hunting insects," but from the moment they landed, something felt wrong. Their weapons lost signal. Their maps became blank. One of the hunters, a 4-eyed lizard from Corthon, went missing within 10 minutes. No scream, no sound, just gone. The trees were too quiet. The wind carried voices, but not words. The team formed a circle, lasers ready, but nothing attacked. It was like the forest itself was watching them. Kerala tried to stay calm. She scanned the area, trying to find signs. Instead, she saw something impossible, old-fashioned. Traps hidden in the grass, made from bones and wire. Who would use such things? One hunter asked, "Humans are extinct." Another replied, but Kerala wasn't so sure anymore. That night, the team camped near a waterfall. They set auto turrets, heat sensors, and motion alarms. But as the sun set, a strange fog crept in. One of the alarms beeped, then stopped, then came the scream. The second hunter was dragged into the trees, gone before they could fire a shot. Blood dripped from the leaves, but again, no footsteps, no body, only silence. Kerala stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. That's when she saw it, a shadow standing on a cliff above them, the shape of a man holding an old Earth-style rifle. He didn't move, he only watched. She raised her weapon, aimed, but when the light blinked, he was gone. No sound, no trace. Only the echo of wind through the trees. "Impossible," she whispered. That was a human. The next morning, the team was down to 3. They moved slowly, careful with every step. That's when they found something new. A giant beast. Bigger than any of them, lying dead in the bushes. A perfect shot through the eye. Kerala stepped close and examined it. "None of us made this shot," she said. "So who did?" She felt something change inside her. Not fear, but curiosity. This wasn't just a forest. It was a hunting ground, and someone else was already the apex predator here. Later, while walking through thick vines, Kerala saw more signs. Traps, bones arranged in patterns, and scratched marks in tree trunks. They were signs of territory. But alien creatures don't leave marks like that. Only humans do. Suddenly, a voice crackled through their cum system. It was low, rough, and human. "Leave if you want to live," it said. "This forest is not for you." Kerala froze. The voice had no anger, no threat, just a cold fact. She responded quickly. "Who are you?" she asked. Silence. Then came the sound of metal, a trap springing in the distance. Another scream. They were down to 2 now. Kerala turned to the last hunter. "We're not hunting," she said. "We are being hunted." As they moved deeper into the forest, Kerala's thoughts changed. This wasn't about winning a hunt anymore. She wanted to find him. She wanted to see the human who could survive in a place even their technology couldn't touch. That night, while resting by a fire, she looked up at the stars. "Who are you?" She whispered into the darkness, and somewhere in the trees, the human hunter watched her. silent, calm. He whispered back to himself, "Let's see if you're strong enough to find out." The forest was quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that meant danger was near. Kerala and the last alien hunter, Drix, moved slowly through thick trees. Each step felt heavy, as if the forest itself wanted them gone. Drix, who had 4 arms and thick green skin, tried to scan the area, but once again, their equipment showed nothing. No heat signals, no life signs, nothing. He growled. Kerala looked around with sharp eyes. "Someone is watching us," she said, "and I don't think it's a beast." They found the body of the 3rd hunter hanging from a tree. Clean kill, no signs of struggle. It wasn't the work of a wild creature. It was the work of a professional. Kerala clenched her fists. She had trained for war, hunted in storms, and fought monsters. But this was different. This was personal. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind them. They turned, weapons ready, but nothing was there. Just wind, or maybe something faster than wind. "Do you think it's really a human?" Drix asked. Kerala nodded slowly. "Yes," she replied, "but not an ordinary one." They walked forward until they came across a strange scene. 7 animal skulls placed in a circle. Each skull faced outward, as if guarding something. In the center, a small box, handmade. Kerala bent down and opened it. Inside was a note written in Old Earth English. She read it aloud. "You are not ready. Go back." Drix looked nervous. "This is not a warning," he said. "It's a challenge." Kerala agreed, and she smiled, just a little. For the first time in years, she felt excited. A loud growl broke the moment. Something large was coming through. The trees, the ground shook with every step. A beast, at least 10 feet tall, covered in thick black fur, charged at them. Kerala jumped left. Drix rolled right. They fired their weapons, barely slowed the creature. It swiped Drix with one massive arm. Throwing him into a tree, Kerala ran, trying to draw its attention. Just when the beast was about to crush her, a sharp whistle echoed through the forest. A second later, a single shot. Clean, direct, into the beast's eye. It dropped instantly. Kerala stood in shock. She turned around, searching for who fired. But again, no one was there. Then she saw it. A mark on the tree, freshly carved. A symbol, 2 lines crossed by a single arrow. A hunter's sign. "He's helping us," Kerala whispered. "But why?" Drix limped over, bleeding. "He could have let us die," he said. "But he didn't." Kerala nodded. "There's something more going on." Later, they found a stream to rest. Kerala washed the blood off her hands and looked into the water. Her reflection showed not just her face, but doubt. She had come here to prove her skill. But now, she felt like a student again. Suddenly, her communicator crackled. It wasn't a voice this time. It was a video. Grainy and shaky, but it showed a face. The human, he was older, scarred, eyes like steel. He didn't speak. He only looked at the camera. Then he raised his hand and pointed at her. The screen went black. Kerala stared at it, heart pounding. "He knows who I am," she said. Drix frowned. Why would he help us but scare us at the same time? Kerala stood up and looked toward the mountains. "Because he's testing us," she replied, "and I want to pass." The next morning, they found another trail. But this time, it wasn't a beast. It was a creature made by metal and bone. An old war robot, half dead, still active. It attacked without warning, firing red beams of heat. Kerala dodged and returned fire, but the robot's armor was strong. Just when it aimed at Drix's chest, another shot came from the trees. Right in the robot's core. Explosion, fire, silence. The hunter had saved them again, but he still refused to meet them face to face. Kerala walked to the spot where the shot came from. There was a small note pinned to a tree. This time it said, You are improving. Kerala smiled for real. Now, he wants us to learn, she said. Drix groaned. I don't want to learn anymore. Kerala laughed softly. Too late, she said. We're already his students, as they continued deeper into the forest. The air grew colder, the trees darker, but Kerala's eyes burned brighter. She no longer came for victory or pride. Now, she hunted not a beast, but a man who hunted what others feared. Kerala walked deeper into the forest, her weapon low, but her senses sharp. Drix followed behind her, limping but alive. The forest had become colder, darker, and even more silent. The birds were gone, the air was still, and the sky was hidden by black leaves. They were no longer in just a forest. They had entered something older, something sacred. Drix whispered, "This place feels wrong." Kerala looked around and replied, "No, not wrong. It feels alive." Suddenly, her communicator crackled again. But this time, it wasn't a voice or a video. It was a set of numbers, coordinates, without a word. Kerala changed direction. Drix frowned. Are we really going where he wants us to? Yes, she said. This is part of his test. They reached a narrow path between cliffs. Strange symbols were carved into the stone. Old Earth language mixed with hunter code. Kerala could read a little. It said, "Enter only if you seek truth." They stepped inside. The path led them to a large metal door, half buried in vines and rock. It was from an old earth bunker, maybe hundreds of years old. Kerala placed her hand on it. It opened without a sound. Inside, they found a hidden base, dusty walls, broken screens, old weapons, and shelves filled with books and maps. It was quiet, but not abandoned. Something had been here recently. Footprints in the dust, fresh food in the corner. Kerala whispered, "He lives here." They explored the base slowly. Kerala found a control panel and turned on the power. Lights flickered on, and a screen came to life. A message popped up. Lesson 1, you survive, but do you understand? Suddenly, the doors locked behind them. Traps activated, lasers, drones, and gas. Kerala and Drix jumped into action. She shot the drones mid-air. Drix blocked the gas vents with metal. They moved like true warriors, dodging death at every step. After 10 minutes, everything stopped. The lights turned green and the screen changed again. You pass, the door opened, and fresh air came in. Kerala stood still, breathing hard. He's testing our instincts, our minds, not just strength, she said. As they walked outside, a new voice came from the come. It was the human. Now you see, he said. Survival is not about weapons. It's about choices, Kerala replied. Who are you? Silence again. Then he spoke, slow and calm. I was born in this forest, he said. I was trained by those who came before the end. I am the last hunter of Earth. Kerala froze. This was not just a survivor. This was someone created by war, raised by nature, and hardened by death. Drix stepped forward. Why are you helping us? The human answered, because soon, something will come that not even you can stop. You need to learn fast or die. Kerala felt a chill run through her body. What is coming? She asked again, only silence. That night, they camped near a cliffside. Kerala couldn't sleep. She thought about everything, the traps, the voice, the lessons. She had been proud, overconfident, but now she felt like a student again. The human was stronger, smarter, and more focused than anyone she had met. He wasn't hunting for fun. He was preparing them. Suddenly, a small stone rolled down from above. Kerala stood up quickly, weapon raised, but it wasn't an animal. It was a gift. A small box dropped at her feet, inside a broken alien weapon. It had been taken from one of her dead team members, but now it was modified, upgraded, in a way her people couldn't understand. Kerala smiled. He wasn't just watching, he was helping her improve. He wants us to become better hunters, she said to Drix. He wants us ready. As the morning sun broke through the trees, Kerala saw something new. A figure in the distance, standing tall on a cliff edge. It was him, the human. For a moment, he just stood there. Then, slowly, he raised a hand and pointed toward the north. Then he vanished again into the trees. Kerala whispered, "He wants us to follow." Drix looked unsure. This could be a trap. Kerala nodded. "Yes, but I'd rather follow the one who saved us than stay where everything wants to kill us." They moved north, stepping into deeper forest. The trees grew wider, the air thicker. The forest was changing again, like it was reacting to their progress. Kerala turned back and looked one last time toward the cliff. There was no one there, but in her heart, she knew the real hunt was just beginning. Kerala and Drix moved carefully through the deeper part of the forest. The trees here were taller, older, and glowing with strange light. Every step felt like they were walking into history, but this history was hidden, dangerous, and alive. They followed the direction the human had pointed. There was no path, only clues, old ropes, hunting marks on trees, and strange bones hanging like wind chimes. It was a trail only a true hunter could see. Drix was tired, his wounds slowing him down. Kerala stayed alert, checking every sound. The forest felt like it was watching, testing, waiting. Suddenly, she stopped. There in the distance was a massive stone wall, half covered in vines. Symbols were carved into it, some human, some alien, some unknown. At the center was a gate, sealed tight. As they approached, the ground opened beneath them. They fell into darkness, sliding down a hidden tunnel. It was not a trap, it was a doorway, and someone wanted them to enter. They landed inside a large underground chamber. Lights flickered on, slow and cold. On the walls were screens, photos, maps, and weapons. This was a bunker, a secret base from the old Earth War. Kerala stood up, looking around. Everything was still working, as if someone had been maintaining it. Suddenly, a screen turned on. The human's face appeared again. Older now, closer, more real. He looked into the camera and spoke. "Welcome to the place where I was born," he said. "My name is Aaron Kerala." Listened carefully. "I was created for war," Aaron continued. "My parents were part of Project Legacy. They trained in silence. Raised me in the wild. They knew the world was ending. And they wanted someone to remember how to survive." Kerala stepped closer to the screen. This was not just a man. This was a living piece of history, a ghost of Earth's past. Still fighting, still hunting. "I lived alone after they died." Aaron said, "I learned from the forest, from the beasts, from the mistakes of those who came before. Now, I test those who come here to see if they are worthy of what comes next." "What is coming?" Kerala asked aloud. The screen answered instantly. "A second purge." Kerala felt her chest tighten. "What purge?" "The same force that ended Earth is returning." Aaron said, "Something worse than monsters. Worse than war. They cleanse weak civilizations to restart the cycle. And they are coming for your galaxy next." Drix stepped back in fear. Kerala stayed still, her voice calm. "Why are you warning us?" Aaron's eyes narrowed. "Because I've watched you," he said. "You don't just survive. You adapt. You ask questions. You learn fast. You remind me of what humanity once was." The screen shut off. A door opened in the back of the chamber. Inside was a room full of human weapons, data, and battle suits. Kerala picked up one of the guns, light, strong, and deadly. It felt better than anything the Federation had built. Built not by machines, but by survivors. She turned to Drix. "We were not sent here for glory." She said, "We were brought here to be trained." Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the bunker. The forest above was under attack. Something had entered. Something huge. Kerala ran outside with Drix. The sky was darker now, and the trees shook violently. Roars filled the air, deep, guttural, and unnatural. A massive creature made of metal and flesh stomped through the forest. It was a machine beast, like nothing they had seen. It crushed trees and hunted anything that moved. Kerala raised her weapon to fire. But before she could shoot, a perfect blast hit the beast's eye. It screamed, falling to the side. Confused, Aaron appeared from the shadows, rifle in hand. Face covered in dirt and blood. "You're not ready for this one," he said. Kerala stepped beside him. "Then teach me," she replied. Together. They moved as a team. Kerala watched how he moved, calm, silent, deadly. He didn't waste bullets. Didn't panic. Every motion was controlled. They dodged the beast's attack. Leading it toward a pit trap, Aaron had prepared it days ago. Knowing something would come with perfect timing. They tricked the creature into falling. It crashed into the pit, screaming as the trap activated. Massive spikes burst from the ground. Tearing into its body, electric currents fried its systems. Within seconds, it was dead. Kerala looked at Aaron, her breath heavy. He looked at her. Nodding, "You passed," he said. She didn't smile. She just whispered, "What's the next test?" Aaron looked toward the mountains in the distance. His eyes cold but alive. "The real one," he said, "and you'll need more than strength to survive it." The forest was burning. Black smoke rose into the sky, and the air smelled like metal and ash. The beast they killed was not the only one. It was just a scout. Kerala stood beside Aaron, watching the trees shake in the distance. More machines were coming, larger and faster. These were not wild creatures. They were made for war. Drix was hiding in the bunker. His wounds too deep to fight. Kerala had no time to rest. She tightened her armor and followed Aaron as he moved toward the valley. Her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from purpose. She had trained her whole life, but nothing had ever made her feel this alive. Not even the great hunts on her homeworld. Not even battle tournaments. This was different. Here, one mistake meant death. Here. She was not the hunter yet. Aaron led her through a path covered in broken machines and bones. He didn't speak much, but every step, every move he made taught her something. "Why are these machines attacking now?" Kerala asked. "They were waiting," Aaron said, "watching from orbit. Now that you're here. They think I've chosen someone." "Chosen for what?" she asked. Aaron stopped and looked at her. "To carry the legacy," he replied. To keep the hunt alive, Kerala didn't understand everything. But she knew this. She didn't want to leave anymore, not without knowing what he truly was, and not without proving herself to him. They reached a small hill. Aaron dropped to the ground and scanned the area below. 3 machine beasts were patrolling, their metal bodies glowing red. Kerala reached for her weapon, but Aaron raised a hand. "Too loud," he said. He pulled out a bow, an old weapon, made of wood and bone, but it worked better than tech. With one silent pull, he released an arrow. It flew like lightning and pierced the core of the first beast. It fell without a sound. Kerala watched in awe. He killed machines using tools from the past because he understood balance, nature, patience, timing, not just power. They moved quickly, taking down the other beasts with quiet traps and deadly shots. Every time Kerala tried to copy him, he corrected her. "Don't rush," he said. "Breathe with the forest. See the enemy before they see you." She listened, she learned, and slowly she began to move like him. By nightfall, they returned to a cave Aaron had prepared long ago. Inside was fire, dry food, and a small shelter. Kerala sat near the flames, cleaning her blade. Aaron watched her silently. "You're strong," he said. "Faster than most, but strength is not enough." Kerala looked up, her eyes serious. "Then tell me what I need." Aaron leaned forward. "You need purpose," he said. "You fight for pride, for glory, for honor. But I fight for survival. I fight so that the next generation is stronger than the last. That's how we win." Kerala was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Is that why you live alone?" Aaron didn't answer right away. He looked into the fire. "I wasn't made to lead armies," he said. "I was made to prepare one." Kerala looked at him differently now, not as a wild hunter, not as a ghost of Earth, but as something greater. She stood up and walked closer. "You shouldn't be the last of your kind," she said. Aaron looked into her eyes. She spoke softly. "A hunter like you deserves to pass on his genes." He smiled, not with pride, but with quiet sadness. "Maybe," he said, "but only if there's a world worth living in." Just then, the ground shook. A massive roar echoed through the forest. It wasn't one machine, it was many hundreds, maybe more. Aaron stood and grabbed his rifle. "This is it," he said. "The real hunt begins now." Kerala followed without fear. They ran toward the northern cliffs. There, Aaron had built a final trap, a place he never hoped to use. But now he had no choice. They reached the cliffs just as the sky turned red. Ships appeared above the clouds, dark, sharp, and silent. Machines dropped from them like metal rain. Aaron handed Kerala a strange device. "This controls the bombs," he said. "When I say now, you press it." Kerala took it without question. They waited behind rocks. The machines marched forward, scanning everything. One of them stopped. It turned its head slowly toward Kerala's hiding place. Then Aaron stepped out. "Hey," he said, loud and clear. "Come get me." The machines charged. Aaron ran, leading them straight into the kill zone. Kerala watched the tracker light up. Then his voice came through the comm. "Now," he said. She pressed the button. The cliffs exploded. Rocks fell, and fire filled the air. The machines were crushed, burned, and buried when the dust cleared. She saw him still standing, breathing hard, but alive. She ran to him. He looked at her, eyes tired but proud. "You followed well," he said. Kerala smiled. "I'm not done learning yet." The battlefield was quiet. Smoke floated through. The trees and the ground was covered in broken machine parts. But Kerala knew it wasn't over. This silence was only the eye of the storm. Aaron leaned against a rock, holding his side. Blood dripped slowly from his wound, but his eyes were sharp. He was still alert, still focused. Kerala knelt beside him, checking the injury. "You need rest," she said. Aaron shook his head. "No time," he replied. "It's coming." Kerala looked up, confused. "What's coming?" Aaron pointed toward the sky. "The Alpha," he said, "the leader of the machines." As if answering him, the clouds above split open. A huge shadow dropped from the sky. A creature made of black metal, with wings like blades and a face that looked almost human. It landed with a crash, shaking the forest floor. Kerala stood, heart pounding. This was no scout, no drone. This was a titan. The Alpha roared, its voice like thunder. It saw Aaron and Kerala, and its red eyes glowed brighter. It raised one arm, a weapon charged with energy. Kerala fired first. Her shot hit the creature's chest but bounced off like a stone. "Run!" Aaron shouted, but he didn't move. He aimed his rifle, trying to find a weak spot. Kerala grabbed Aaron and pulled him behind a rock. The Alpha fired. A blast of pure energy hit the ground near them, exploding trees and earth. They barely escaped. "We can't fight that thing," Kerala said, breathing hard. "Not with normal weapons." Aaron didn't answer. He was thinking. Then he looked at her and said, "There's one way." They ran to a cave hidden deep in the cliffs. Inside was a strange machine, part tech, part bone. Aaron had been building it for years, a sniper cannon powered by old Earth tech. But it needed time to charge and someone to distract the Alpha. "I'll do it," Aaron said. Kerala shook her head. "You're hurt. I can move faster," he replied. "I've done it before." Kerala stepped forward. "No." She said, "You taught me enough. Let me be the distraction." Aaron looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "If you don't make it back." He began. Kerala interrupted him. "I will," she said, "and when I do, I want answers." She ran out before he could stop her. The Alpha spotted her at once. She threw grenades, fired her rifle, screamed anything to draw its attention. The giant creature chased her, crashing through trees. Destroying the ground beneath it, Kerala jumped over rocks, slid under branches, dodging every attack. She led it to the far side of the valley, just long enough for Aaron to power the weapon. Back in the cave, Aaron stood beside the cannon. The target system locked onto the Alpha, but there was only one shot. One chance. The creature stopped, confused. Kerala had vanished behind a cliff wall. It turned its head, and for a moment, its glowing red, eye was wide open. Aaron didn't hesitate. He pulled the trigger. The cannon fired a massive energy beam shot through the valley like a bolt of lightning. It hit the Alpha directly in the eye. The explosion shook the entire forest. The ground split, and fire rose into the sky. The Alpha screamed a horrible sound of pain and rage. Then it fell, crashing into the earth. Unmoving, Aaron dropped too. His knees, exhausted, he looked toward the valley. "Please be alive." He whispered. Minutes passed. Then he heard footsteps. Kerala appeared from the smoke. Her armor burned, her leg cut, but her face still strong. She limped toward him. "You missed the heart." She joked. Aaron laughed, even through the pain. "You were right," he said. "You're ready." Kerala sat beside him, her hands shaking slightly. "That thing was stronger than anything I've fought." Aaron nodded. "And there are worse things out there," he said, "but you have the spirit to face them." She looked at him, her voice softer now. "Why did you stay behind all these years?" Aaron looked up at the stars. "Because I thought the galaxy didn't deserve what humanity had to offer. But maybe I was wrong." Kerala smiled. "You were," she said. "You just needed someone to remind you." The fire burned in the distance, but the forest was calm again. The Alpha was dead. And the machines had stopped. For now, they had peace. Kerala leaned back against the rock. "We did it," she said. Aaron looked at her. "No," he replied. "You did it." She looked into his eyes and said, "I couldn't have without you." For the first time, there was no lesson, no warning, no threat, just silence. And the feeling of something new, trust, respect, and maybe more. The sky was clear again. The smoke had faded. And the stars above Earth looked peaceful. But everything had changed. Kerala stood on a hill, looking down at the remains of the final battle. The broken machines were scattered across the valley. The Alpha was gone, its metal body half buried in the soil. Beside her stood Aaron, his arm in a sling, his face tired but calm, for the first time in many years. The forest was quiet, not with danger, but with peace. They had survived, they had won. But the fight was only the beginning. Kerala looked at Aaron and asked, "What now?" Aaron didn't answer immediately. He looked across the trees. "Where?" The sun was rising. Then he said, "Now we rebuild." Kerala raised an eyebrow. "Rebuild Earth?" "No," Aaron said. "Rebuild hope. The Earth will fix itself, but the people, they need to come back, stronger, smarter, united." She nodded slowly. It made sense. This forest had tested her, changed her. She wasn't the same warrior who had landed here full of pride. And Aaron wasn't just a hunter anymore. He was a guide, a leader, maybe even something more. They returned to the old bunker. Inside, Kerala helped Drix recover. He was weak, but alive, and his respect. For Aaron had grown. "Never thought a human would save me twice," he said. Aaron only smiled and gave him a small fruit. "Try this," he said. It heals faster than your tech. As days passed, more hidden bases were found across the forest. Each one full of data, supplies, and old secrets, together. Kerala and Aaron unlocked them, learning more about Earth's past and its future. One bunker had something different. A cryochamber, still working. Inside it, a young child. Maybe 6 years old, frozen in time. A survivor. Aaron stared at the chamber for a long time. "This changes everything," he whispered. Kerala looked at him. "You're not the last anymore," she said. He nodded slowly, his voice deep. "No," he replied. "Now we start again." Word of their success spread across the galaxy. Kerala's ship sent a message back to the Galactic Federation, but she didn't leave. She stayed with Aaron, helping him build. Together, they trained others who arrived, brave ones who wanted to learn. They rebuilt the old hunter schools, planted food, cleared broken land, humans and aliens working side by side. For survival, not war. One night, Kerala and Aaron sat by the fire near the old cave. Stars above, wind quiet. She looked at him and asked, "Do you still think the galaxy doesn't deserve your kind?" Aaron smiled. "Not anymore," he said, "because now we fight together." Kerala leaned closer. "There's one thing I still believe," she said. Aaron looked at her, curious. She placed her hand on his and said, "A hunter like you deserves to pass on his genes." Aaron didn't laugh this time. He simply looked into her eyes and nodded. "Maybe it's time," he whispered. "Time to stop being the last." Years later, Earth was green again. Forests grew stronger. Animals returned. The skies turned blue, and in the center of the last forest, a new village stood. It was not made of metal or concrete. It was made of wood, stone, and spirit. Children ran through the trees, learning to track, to listen, to survive. Some had human eyes, some alien skin, but all of them carried one thing, the will to endure. At the edge of the forest, an old man stood with a rifle in hand. His hair was gray, but his eyes still sharp. Beside him stood a woman, tall and strong, her skin blue, her stare fierce. They watched the children run. Their children, Kerala smiled. "Do you think they're ready?" she asked. Aaron nodded slowly. "Let's see if our children can hunt even better." He replied. Far above the Earth, another ship passed quietly through space. Its crew watched the planet and whispered, "The humans are back," one said. And they are not alone. They were right, because this time, humanity wasn't just surviving. It was leading, not with armies, but with hunters, strong, smart, and united. Years had passed since the machines were defeated, since the last forest became the first home of a new Earth. Under the leadership of Aaron and Kerala, humans and aliens lived, trained, and grew together. The planet was no longer silent. It was alive again, but peace never lasts forever. One night, as the children slept and the fires burned low, a message came, not from the forest, not from Earth, but from the stars, a signal hidden and old. It reached the village through one of the ancient satellites that still orbited the planet. Drix, now older, stronger, and working as chief of security, ran to Aaron's home with the data chip. Aaron was sharpening his knife when Drix entered. He looked up, his eyes calm but focused. "It's from outside the system," Drix said. "Encrypted, but definitely for you." Aaron took the chip, inserted it into the old terminal. A screen lit up with flickering static, then cleared. A woman's face appeared, pale, with silver markings and golden eyes. She spoke in a cold, clear voice. "Earth is marked," she said. "Prepare for judgment." The message ended, and silence returned. Drix looked at Aaron. "What does it mean?" Aaron stood slowly. "It means someone bigger has noticed us." Kerala arrived moments later, her expression serious. She had seen the message from her own terminal. That wasn't a machine. She said, "No," Aaron agreed. It was a herald. Kerala stepped forward. "The purge you told me about," she whispered. "It wasn't just machines, was it?" Aaron shook his head. "The machines were tools," he said. "The heralds are the ones who send the signal to wipe a species." Drix crossed his arms. "So why now?" "Because we grew strong again," Aaron said. "Because Earth is no longer silent." A council was called the next morning. Leaders from different species sat around the fire, some from nearby worlds, others who had joined Earth after hearing about the hunter. They all listened as Aaron explained the message. Most were silent, but one spoke, a bird-like alien named Vorn, leader of the Sky Clans. "We have fleets now," Vorn said. "We can fight." Aaron nodded, "But not like last time," he said. "If the heralds come, they don't bring ships, they bring silence." The word hung in the air like smoke. Kerala stood beside Aaron and spoke next. "We don't run," she said. "We prepare." And so they did. Over the next few weeks, Earth changed again. The training camps became fortresses. Children were taught how to read stars and listen for signals. Hunters were no longer just guardians. They were scouts, explorers, protectors. Aaron built a new kind of weapon, not to destroy, but to detect. He wanted to hear the whispers before they became storms. Kerala led missions into orbit, placing beacons and relays. Each one connected to the others, forming a web of warning around the planet. One evening, Kerala returned from orbit, tired but smiling. She met Aaron near the forest edge. "Where?" He was testing a new energy bow. "They're watching us," she said. "I felt it." Aaron didn't seem surprised. "They always were," he replied. "But now?" "We're watching back." That night, they walked together through the trees, the stars above them brighter than ever. Kerala asked softly, "Do you think they'll attack?" Aaron looked up. "Yes," he said, "but this time, we won't be alone." She leaned on him. "You were the last," she said. "Now look at us." Aaron smiled. "I wasn't meant to lead," he said, "but maybe I was meant to light the fire." At the edge of the galaxy, in a cold, empty part of space, the heralds watched Earth. They had seen planets rise and fall, species burn and vanish, but Earth was different. The signal from the human world was not of fear. It was strength, growth, and unity. One of the heralds, the silver-eyed woman, watched the signal data. She narrowed her eyes, unexpected. She whispered, "Evolution." Behind her, others waited for her command, but she raised a hand. "Wait," she said. "Let them grow." Back on Earth, Aaron sat by the fire, Kerala at his side. Children laughed in the distance. Stars shimmered. Above, he whispered, "If they come, we'll be ready." Kerala smiled, because this time, we are the hunters.